reminded me. So the topic's a memorable childhood experience, an entertaining story about a pet, a scary or dangerous event that you witnessed or experienced, um, resisting or giving in to peer pressure. I have I have decided that adults are no less vulnerable to peer pressure than children ever thought about being. I think that we as adults, a lot of times we label it differently. Like we label it FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. But that's still peer pressure. That's when the people around us are doing something and we don't want to be left out, so we go along. So I labeled it in, peer pressure, like childish language there, but it sort of refers to something that might be more adult-like. Uh, or you could write about a day that changed your life forever, or you can think about something else. Those are just suggestions. But you want to kind of think about, you guys know what the five senses are, right? What is it? Sight, sound, smell,
Taste and
taste,
touch.
touch. Is that five? Yeah. So when you're talking about things that happen in the narrative essay, the more of those senses you can stimulate, the more identity we build with the story. That gets real important in the descriptive essay, where you're actually trying to describe the way a flower smells or the rain felt on your skin or um, whatnot, just whatever you happen to think about. But it's good to add it to the narrative so that the reader has a closer experience with your experience that you're sharing with us. Um,
So I have a question.
sure.
So I know you said like an entertaining story about a pet, or like, well, it's a little different, but an entertaining story about a pet. How can we tie in like a lesson or a moral there?
Well, did you read the one about the pit bulldog? Actually, it wasn't a reading. I saw it online somewhere, but a pit bulldog that refused to leave the baby's room because the baby was still in the crib, and so
Um,
the dog stayed there until the firefighters heard the barking and followed the barking in there to get the baby, and then they got everybody out, and the dog lived happily ever after.
okay. None of my pets have
So
ever done anything like
entertaining
that.
doesn't necessarily have to mean funny, but I guess it just means interesting. You don't have to write about your pet if you don't have an maybe you have a lizard that just sits there all day and never does anything. And
Now, I think the most entertaining thing that's ever happened with any of my pets is we used to live on a farm, so there was like field mice. They're like just you couldn't get away from them. They're just gonna be there, and my cat would take care of it. But that's about it.
well, yeah, I had a pet pig some years ago. When I got her, she was about the size of a football. My little wiener dog just run her all around the backyard. But she grew to be about 600 pounds, and she was just the sweetest thing. A pig is a wonderful pet if they just weren't so darn destructive. But she was so big, she tore down the fences that I built, and she was just so big. She rooted up everything. We didn't couldn't have any flowers or anything because she liked to root. But I could bore you for an hour on the stories about that pig. But there's these are just some that kind of stimulate some thought. You aren't limited to these at any, and then you can change them around, right? Instead of a entertaining story about a pet, you could write a tragic story about a pet if you wanted to, but just whatever. I guess if you were a field mice, that was a tragic story.
Yeah, it probably would be. And then the other thing that popped in my head when you read a scary or dangerous event, I thought of pets. But again, there's no really like lesson or moral. Used to go camping when I was a kid, and it was like me, my stepdad, um, his friends, my cousins, uncle, and me, my two cousins. Long story short, went on a bike ride. And maybe there is a lesson to be learned. Maybe we were told not yet, but I don't remember. I was like 9, 8, 9. I don't remember that part. But we took off on our bikes, and it was like a private campground, which is actually kind of better. But the owner had like 4 German Shepherds, and they
Mm-hmm.
were always supposed to be, at the front of the campground on the property, not like the campground side of the property. And we went riding through like the woods that were there. It wasn't like big woods, it's like just small woods by like the river. And then we're riding our bikes, and we see 4 German Shepherds, and I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. They're like play fighting, and they saw us, and they ran at us. And I remember one of us rode on like the pegs of one bike, but they literally like trapped one of my cousins in between 2 trees and me, and I yelled at my other one to like go, and they were like, I don't want to leave you guys behind. And I was like, no, get on that bike
Every man
and
for
go.
himself. Get out of
No,
here.
like, go get our parents. Like, for the love of God, please leave us behind and go get our parents. Like, because she had a way out. So she did. But I remember it was terrifying, literally. Like, I was trying to climb in between like twig trees, and they just were trying to like eat us alive, I swear. And our parents came on like little 4 wheelers trying to get there as fast as they could, because we were out a bit, and they came and started screaming, and the dogs left. But traumatic. I'm scared of German Shepherds ever since.
Yeah, I'm sure. So, that's a good story. It's amazing when we do storytelling orally out loud, how easily the story comes to us. When you start trying to put it in words, you have to be a little bit more of a wordsmith. You have to craft all those words into good sentences and things of that nature. So it's good to play with something like that and try to share that and try to help us, because you don't have um, vocal quality in a story, right? So we can't hear you say, "But those dogs were terrifying." We can't hear your voice jump up like that. So it's different when you start telling it in writing. But um, hey, Ashley, I see you popping in and out over there. We're just talking about the narrative essay that's coming up in, when we say 2 modules, module 10. Just in case you get bored and you have some free time and you want something else to worry about, and you can worry about the narrative essay. I think you'll have more fun with that. And yeah, that's part of the lesson, right? When we start writing our stories, um, expressing the moral or expressing what we learned from that it's not always easy to find. I use the word wallowing, right? Or sometimes I say wrestling. Sometimes you have to wrestle with the idea to see who comes out on top. You or the idea. Does the idea whip you? Do you give up and say, well, I can't express that well? Um, Wallowing kind of means the same thing. Oh, who got popped out? Everything popped loose for a moment. Is everybody still here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. My screen just jumped around on me. So yeah, part of sharing the lesson in a lot of cases is learning the lesson yourself. So it's good to reflect on those kinds of events. Sometimes, you can learn a little bit about yourself through that, reflecting on that event. Yeah, this would be a good time if you have time. The net tutor, uh, because in this one you're only going to be asking for insight on, right, grammar and paragraph and stuff like that. You won't be looking for APA. You won't be looking for so many things that have so many facets that people might get them differently. So if you wanted to use NetTutor again, send them a preliminary copy of your narrative essay might be helpful. So I guess, is that enough said about the
Oh
narrative?
yeah,
What
no,
does it
definitely
mean when
explained
it
it.
says don't shift around?
So we know first person and second person and third person, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you look at well, you guys don't get to see everybody's. You only get to see your persuasive and research paper. But um, it's quite common for young writers to jump between first and second and third person, right? So a young writer might say, and I hate to pick on you, but you might have said just this. I got chased by a dog. You might get chased by a dog. Um, first, you second, and third would be people get chased by a dog, right? So when you jump around means we're going to go from first person I to second person you to third person we, all in the same paragraph. So what we want to make it all one person. I mean, all first person or all second, but second person is really, really hard to write in and make it work. Um, but we don't want to jump between first and second and third person. So it'd be all in first person. You wouldn't say in a first person narrative, you wouldn't say you got injured or something. You wouldn't go into second person. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm sort of stumbling around there, but the idea is that, and it's the same thing in persuasive and research, where we want to stay in third person all the time. We don't want to go from first to second to third. We want to stay in third person all the time. In the narrative, it works better in first person, but we don't want to jump back and forth between second and third. Does that help, Autumn?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Anything else? That's pretty much true for every style of writing that you'll ever do. You can, depending on the assignment and the type of writing you're assigned, you can use whatever you need to, but it's just not, it's complicated and it's an error to jump back and forth between. So anything else? So I'll go ahead and stop sharing that. Let's take that down. Ashley, welcome. What are you working on tonight? Let's go over and see. If you don't have a microphone, Ashley, you can type into the chat. That little pink thumbnail over on your left will open up a chat room, and you can type over there and I can answer your questions. So let's circle back to our research writing just to answer, see if we have any questions about how that should be looking. I had an email. In fact, um, I had a collaborate session this afternoon with one of your classmates, and we talked about the research, and I answered some questions for him. And I assume that if he still has last minute questions, maybe others still have last minute questions. So if you have anything that's on your mind that you want to talk about, let me say this for everybody's benefit. Sometimes I feel like I say things to the point that people quit listening. But okay, you can't talk right now, but if you have a question, type it in and I'll get you an answer to it. Um, um, Let me say it again. The annotated bibliography is not part of your research paper. The reference page is, right? So what's the difference between the annotated bibliography and the reference page? And the answer is, ma'am?
Oh, sorry. I thought you wanted us to say it. Sorry, but the annotated bibliography is just, a resource for us to write the research paper if our internet was taken away. So essentially, the annotated bibliography, yes, it's cited, but we do a summary of what that article is about and then how we are going to use it. Which I
Yes.
would say really quickly, and I don't know if this is going to help anyone else out, but since obviously I've been on the struggle bus with this entire thing, My annotated bibliography, when you asked us to like say like where we're gonna put it, I literally put that I did not know, as I could like use that, use that source in different parts of my research paper, but like I didn't understand the like form or outline at that time when we had to do the, first draft of it. So I'm
Hmm.
probably going to get a terrible grade. But, I thought you were looking for like, oh, in paragraph 3, that's where I'll use this. And I'm like, I don't even know. Like, I've only found 2 sources. I don't know how the outline is. Like, does it have 3 paragraphs, an introduction, conclusion? And it does. You answered that. But when I first did the annotated bibliography, like I summarized good, the first paragraph, but the second one, I did say how I could use it, but when it came to like where I could use it at in the research paper, I was kind of like, oh, I could use this in different places.
Why did nobody tell me my hair looked like that? Goodness. I'm just looking in the reflection of my computer, my hair sticking up like that.
Well, for my benefit, I will say that I'm on my phone and everyone's like just a little icon, so I can't
Right,
see you.
okay. That's the way I see myself, is this little bitty square in the bottom left corner. I can barely even see myself over there. But I forget, maybe you guys see me in living color and 8 by 10 or whatever. So yeah, you're right, and there's nothing wrong with saying that, right? The annotated bibliography is a tool for your use, for you to make the notes that are going to help you. And so if you don't know what you're going to do with it, that's a good place to put, I don't know. You'll have to revisit that later. The thing is, the more time you spend with the annotated bibliography, the easier the paper will be, because number one, you've already planned how you want to use all that stuff. You know what the resources are. But number three, you've already thought about it 2 or 3 times. You've already thought about what's in these papers and how it applies. So it's, even if it hasn't made its way onto paper, it's been rolling around in your head for a week now. And so when you start getting it down on paper, it should be a big help. The more work you put on the annotated bibliography, the easier the paper should be to write. So don't worry too much about that particular thing. If you got good summary, that's what you're looking for. I thought I'd already graded those. Did I not get that back to you?
Mine's not, but I think I know why.
Oh,
So I'll
okay.
just call myself out. I know you said 5 sources, and then I know someone said, like, hey, that's 10 paragraphs, kind of like a paper. And you were like, if you do 2 well ones, that'll suffice for now, but you'll have to turn the rest in later. And I've
Yeah.
struggled with my sources, so I only submitted 2. So I think you're waiting on me to submit the full thing to grade it. I don't know. But no, mine's not.
I don't think so. I'll look at that. I'll look at that first thing, because I thought that I had gotten them all annotated and graded and back to you. So I'll take a look at it.
Mine's
We'll get it back to you right away.
mine's graded. It just don't have comments.
It does. It does. It does. I don't know. I'm not fussing at you, but I'm getting a lot of comments from students that say they can't see the comments that I'm
So,
putting on the papers.
so I will say, when you did like the first grade for the persuasion paper, it was like tricky. Like, if you go to your grades, you can click on it and it will open it up.
See, I
But
did
it
that
was
this.
tricky to find the comments. But then I went to like graded, clicked on it again, and then it pops up, and then there's like something like it's to the like if you're on your computer, like that little sidebar that pops out from the right, there's
Yeah, and you got
something
to
on
click the
there that
little
you
blue
can
bubble.
click on, and then the comments will literally just pop up.
Yeah, I think it's the little blue conversation bubble. You might have to click on something to get that menu to open, and then you click on the blue conversation bubble, and everything ought to light up.
Hang on, I'm about to
So
see if I can find it.
yeah, I know that I commented all over yours, Autumn. Well, not necessarily all over, but I remember the comments that I made. Hello, Kim.
And also, while she's looking for that, just because I know you're recording and maybe to help someone else out, that's further along than I am. I remember a few weeks ago you had told us, and I'm trying to put this simply because I don't want to confuse anyone. But I know you told us, like, when we were doing the first draft of it, that it can actually help you, and that, like, in your experience, that, since you are more familiar with it, that you would start kind of like typing out, like in the annotated bibliography, typing out literally what you would say. So that way, when you're done and it's time to write the first draft of the research paper, you could take, like, copy and paste the annotated bibliography for the research paper. So you kind of already had it, like halfway at least written. So I thought that's actually helpful, but just to understand that, you're writing it yourself, your own thoughts, but just putting it in your annotated bibliography.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And if you write what you want to say in the first paragraph, in the second paragraph, you can say where you want to put it or under what heading or what page or what topic, then you get more benefit. But yeah, I like doing it that way. But then again, my research is not rushed. I don't have a Friday or Sunday deadline looming, so I have a lot of time to engage and be creative. But I think it helps if you can do it. Then you can just cut and paste that into your paper, and you don't have to revisit a lot of that stuff. Let you guys play with that. It's not a requirement that you do it that way by any sort of imagination, but just a technique that I've learned over the years. Autumn, how are you coming out?
Not finding it.
It's there. I know it's there. Jill, did you find comments on yours? Got to figure out what's going on here.
Because it says instructive feedback. You have no additional feedback.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I know I do. Did it light up yellow on the page?
No.
Well, I just don't know why.
What comment you asking about?
This is going on anything. It seems like on anything that we're doing on Turn It In Now.
Oh,
I'm putting the comments on there, and then students aren't finding them. And I'm trying to say, you go back to your assignment and you click on the little blue bubble, and it should turn yellow, and shows you everything that I wanted to say.
And
And
that's what
everybody
I
goes,
clicked on. And like the last time when we wrote the paper, I didn't know that that's what you were supposed to do. So I did find it the last time, but this time I'm not finding anything.
hmm.
I will say, because it's super helpful, because, and like you said, you found it the last time, so surely you were able to see, like, whatever he critiqued you on. So you kind of know exactly what you need to fix. So the next time your grade's even, higher. So that's why I like it, because if he says, like, oh, your title page wasn't right, and then this or this, honestly, not even gonna lie, I kind of just make sure I fix that. And I might, like, I read over it, and if something I think I should fix too, but I mainly focus on what you critique me on, and then my grade's way higher.
Well, yes, that's unless if some students don't, right? Some students, they're just pressed for time, or they have to do the best they can, and I get the same paper back a second time, and all the same errors that I spent all my time reading over and explaining and correcting, and they're still there, and that just fries my onions. So in that case, you may
Never heard that
lose a
saying
grade.
before.
You might lose 10 points for not doing the corrections that I pointed out. Well,
yeah,
doggone it.
you did let me the comment.
So
It
you were able to read them?
yes.
Wonderful, wonderful.
But I can't find mine.
I'm, which course are you in?
Oh goodness. Hang on.
Autumn, there you are. There you are. All right, hold on a second. Let's see. What are we looking for? What are we looking for? Annotated bibliography.
Yes. I tried to screenshot it and share it in the chat, but it doesn't let you.
Oh, I see what happened. So instead of highlighting something, well, first of all, let's see. So yeah, there's text comments. Let's see, feedback summary. You click the little editing button or the little conversation button. So there's some text comments there. And then on the paper itself.
Then how do I see them?
Well, you click on that little blue conversation bubble.
I did.
Somebody help me out here. What are we doing wrong?
Like I'm pushing the blue button and it literally says you have no additional feedback.
So do you see where it says feedback summary at the top?
Yeah. Well, the instructor feedback.
And there's nothing there.
Mm-mm.
I don't understand, because you're not the first person who said this. Okay. So you did a good job. The paragraphs are full of good information, and I think they'll be helpful when you start. You need to add each reference in APA style above its paragraph.
That's the part I left out. I couldn't remember if those had to be added on it or not.
Do you see the little blue conversation bubbles on the paper itself?
The only thing that I see is what's highlighted where what's used in the website.
What's used? Yeah.
So if I click a highlighted thing, it just pulls up the website. It's fine.
Yeah, I just don't know what you're seeing or why. But that was the one thing. You have good paragraphs, but the reference page entry is not there. Somebody did them and put them in the middle between the entries, but it always goes at the top, and then you have to indent the two paragraphs. So that was the only error that you made. It's a big error. You shouldn't have left those out. But
I forgot to add that one. That was my fault. I had written them down, and I don't know why.
Written them down? You mean you didn't have them typed in?
No, because I was trying to get my information first, and then I was like, I'll go back and put that in, and then I never went back and put it in.
All
so
right.
that was my fault because I got it.
Yeah, but other than that, your paragraphs look good. I wish I had an explanation as to why people are not being able to see. It's got to be something, because some of you are and some of you aren't. So it's got to be some way we're accessing the paper. I just hadn't figured it out yet. But if you'll email me tomorrow, I will download this and send you a copy of it, so you'll have the whole thing if you don't find it between now and tomorrow.
Okay, because like I said, I found it on my paper that we wrote the last time. But this one, the persuasive paper, but this one I cannot find it at all.
It's got to be there somewhere, but I'll send it to you tomorrow so you'll have it. That way you'll know what to work on.
Thank you.
Sure. And then if we figure it out, maybe you can tell me what happened so I can tell everybody else. All right, what else? I don't know that we solved that problem, but we will try. Let's see. Carrie, which one of yours was it we were talking about?
The annotated bibliography.
All right, and which course are you in? 44, 349, 640, 928?
640.
640. So let's go over here and see what happened to yours. Let's see if I owe you some remarks or if you're just not getting to them. Let's look and see. So I think in this class, let's see what I've got going on here. What would I do without you guys? Let's see.
It just has like that little yellow exclamation point that says needs grading.
Yeah, and I think I'm figuring out what's going on here. Just a second. This one is going to be my bad, as we say in the hood.
I hope I didn't fail.
No, you didn't fail. Fail? No. So let's see. So there they are. Okay, I think I owe you some comments, and I'll tell you why. In the grade book, I've got a whole laundry list of different assignments that I have used over the course of several semesters. And I had 2 annotated bibliographies, and it looked like I had the wrong one active because I was looking at it and nobody had submitted an annotated bibliography in your class. Now that I'm looking over at the other one, I see that I owe several of you comments on your annotated bibliography, and I will do that tomorrow. And since you're here, I'll promise you that you're going to be the top of my list.
Oh, well, thanks.
I'm so sorry that I haven't done that yet. Let's just look at it. I'm looking at it now. That looks good. That looks really good. That's very impressive. That looks good. Up. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
I'm about to pull up my version that I have on Word. Let's see.
Can I share this with the class so everybody can learn from it?
Yeah,
Or would
sure.
you rather keep it a secret?
Let me log off this one so I can hop on my laptop real quick and see it.
Okay.
Hang on.
Oh no, Kyrie left. Kiri, do you say it was okay that I shared, or are you just going to look at it on your end? I promise it's nothing really bad, or it's nothing that everybody else hasn't done. Okay, so I'm going to take that silence as permission. And let's see which one. Okay. All right. All right, so in your head, you don't have to answer me out loud, but in your head, look at this one. I thought I could, I have to go over here to highlight it. Look at that and tell me what you would do differently if you had a chance to redo it. Let's phone a friend. You want to call in one of your friends?
Oh, I should have put well, should I have done that? I was going to say something between John and 2021, but Probably not have all that stuff capitalized, like Office of Planning, Evaluation, and Policy Development, Office of the Chief Data Officer.
All right, let's go back to your first comment. You said something between John and 2021. What's wrong with that?
It probably needs a period or a comma.
Well,
Yeah, maybe. I
there's
don't
a
know.
bigger issue than a missing period.
It's supposed to be
Oh,
the initial.
that, and it shouldn't be and.
The ampersand sign is correct.
Oh, yeah,
You
you're
have two
right.
authors, so the
Why
ampersand
did I
sign is
do
correct.
that?
You copied that from a source that was an MLA, I'll bet.
No.
Remember, in APA style, we never use a full first
Oh,
name.
no. Sorry. Actually, that one, if you click on that link, that little link right there, if you click on that, it's like this whole, I'm so glad you called me out on that and it just popped in my head. No, it's like this whole document, data, document, whatever, from whatever government, whatever. And they said that the only way that you can use their information, you have to cite it specifically this way, no other way. So I copied and pasted that from that thing.
Let's see.
It's a lot. It's a lot
I
of info.
can't link to it. I can't link to it in the feedback studio.
Here, I can, because I have it in Word, I can put it in the chat real quick. But yeah,
Okay,
it actually
see what
said
you can
that.
find. Let me.
It said
So
that's the only
that's
way
my
you can
first
use
thought
it.
is it's APA style because you shouldn't have a full first name. Now the rest of it, the APA says that we italicize the name of the container and not the title. So that was something else that I would look at. But if you've got a caveat to that, if it tells you that you can only cite it a certain way, then I may have to eat some crow and say this is fine. And the fact that you actually did it in alphabetical order is even better.
No, I literally didn't touch it.
That can be a problem now. Sometimes you have to touch them.
I didn't touch that citation right there. I did not touch that. Because they said like specifically. So I was like, okay, I guess I just use it this way.
Yeah, I don't know. You'll have to show me. You'll have to let me read that and see what it
Yeah,
says.
I'm literally trying to open Word and it's just freezing, which has never happened before. Okay.
Don't worry about it. Send me that link in an email and we can look at it tomorrow. The main thing is that we get it figured out, and we understand, it's an APA. If it says that we can't cite it in APA style, then I'll have to live with that. But I think my thought is that there's a misinterpretation when they say you have to do it this way. That doesn't mean you can't change it to APA style, but let's look at it tomorrow and see. We want to make sure we get it right before you publish your paper. Otherwise, your notes look really good.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I don't see any problem. You should be able to write, if you have 3 more that are this well done, you should be able to write that paper at night while you sleep.
Whatever. Stupid laptop.
I'm just impressed that you can do so much of this on your phone. I think I've told you guys I have had students who I didn't find out were using their phones to do all their assignments until the last few weeks of the semester. But
Oh, well,
that
I
can't
don't
be.
do that. I just do it for our sessions. Sometimes I use the laptop, but ever since I figured out I can just, download our email on there on my phone, like Outlook, and then put our school email in there so I don't miss anything. Because I remember one time I missed it because I didn't like I wasn't on my laptop like 24/7, so I downloaded Outlook, put our school email in there, and now I get them. So I'll just click that link on my phone and it just pops up to where I can join on my phone.
Yeah, and then you never miss one of my emails.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Oh goodness, I worry that I email you guys too much. Jill, what's going on with you? Are you following along? Is anything burning on your mind you want to ask tonight?
Actually, listening. I have a question. It's kind of like personal thing. Um, in my conclusion of the research and paper writing, and I
Uh-huh.
have like because my topic is the effects for secondhand smoking from smoker.
Uh-huh.
So I say like, okay, everybody can do whatever they want to do, but don't don't cause any like similar like that. I don't remember exactly what I say, but it sound like that. Like don't cause any problem for other people. Like other people don't choose to live with the unhealthy life, and it sound like my idea, my personal thing. Is that okay?
No. No, right? We cannot offer our personal opinion in a research paper,
I didn't
right?
say that my I didn't write that on my um idea, but like I say like when people live, people can do whatever they want to do. Like people
Hmm.
can live, they have one life to live, they can do whatever they want to do, but don't cause any problem for other people. The one don't choose their life. They wanted to like unhealthy lifestyle like that. But I didn't say I say that.
Yeah, so did you say something along, so you got to base this on the data, right? On the information that you read. So you
Right.
could say the information or we call it the literature, right? The literature determines that secondhand smoke is unhealthy.
Mm.
Smokers must be careful to isolate their smoking or something like you can say something along those lines, but when we say people can do what they want, but just not in my backyard, so that sort of gives it a less academic tone, right?
Mm.
What do we call that? There's a term for that. Uh, I can't remember, but essentially, it's like you're trying to avoid responsibility for telling people not to smoke, right?
Right.
Smoking is really bad, but I'm not saying anything about it. You do what you want to. And so, in the academic tone, we want to be a little more firm. The literature says, the research demonstrates that smoking, secondhand smoke, is bad. Those who continue to smoke in the presence of others are causing harm. All of that comes directly from the literature, and we don't need to be bashful about saying it.
Okay.
Does that, do you understand that?
Yes.
There's a there is a fine line between saying, "Hey, all y'all out there smoking need to stop it," right? You're hurting people. You don't want to be that demanding, um, but you don't want to be too wishy-washy either. So you
Right.
want what's what we call the academic tone. You want the academic tone to tell what the literature has said, what the research has said, what the effects are, how do we avoid those effects in a scientific kind of tone. Does that
Oh,
help?
yeah, that helped. Thank you. The reason why
Okay.
I want to say that because I'm not smoking and I can't stand people smoke around me. So I should want like
Yeah, it's really amazing. Um, like my dad smoked all his life, so I grew up around smoking, and I grew up with the smell of smoking and all of that stuff. And then at some point in my adult life, I became aware of how much different things were. Now, I will tell you guys that I enjoy smoking a big, long, fat cigar, right? I enjoy a good hand rolled cigar as much as just about, maybe pound cake is better. I'm not sure. Maybe I'd rather have pound cake than a cigar, but it's pretty close. Um, But when I go to smoke a cigar, I would come home and my wife would tell me to take my clothes off at the door and leave them outside until she could put them in the laundry. And then I would have to go straight through the house to the shower and get the smell of the smoke off my skin and out of my hair, brush my teeth, wash with mouthwash, all of those kinds of things before she would let me sit down and start talking to her. So I
I
understand.
totally, I totally understand your wife. I'm having the same
Yeah,
problem.
yeah, yeah. I felt kind of stupid having to stand outside and take my clothes off and put them in a basket next to the door, but that's what she said, so that's what I did. I remember I made some comments, Jill, before I forget. I made a comment about was it your RQ? Did you look at something? What are the effects of secondhand smoke? What are the effects of secondhand smoke on something that sounded a little bit, I don't know if redundant means said the same thing over and over. I'm not sure what it was, but I made a comment and asked you to change a little piece of your research question. Did you find that?
No, I think that's must be on the other one, the first one, the one with the driving and testing.
Maybe,
Yeah,
maybe, but I
that's
thought
that's what
I'll
you
look
think.
again. I'll look again tomorrow because if I made a comment, I don't want you to miss it. I want to make sure that you know that it's there. And Kiri said a minute ago that it's helpful for me to tell everybody what to fix, and that's part of the learning process, right? If I just tell you to write me an essay and I don't tell you what's wrong or how to fix it, we're not really growing as writers. Um, so when I make a comment like that, it's not that I'm being mean. It's just that I want you to think a little bit about that, and get it right the next time out. So I'll
Yeah,
look
we
at it and
here.
see if I can find it. Curie, I saw that link. It flashed up and then it went away. Did you put it over here in the comments? Let's see. Yeah, there it is. Let's see.
So, I did, but I just clicked on it myself, and that's not exactly what pops up. What pops up is this. But like I said, they said, and I, I'll send it to you here. I'll put it in.
Um, so let's see.
It says, let me tell you exactly where, because it is long. Oh,
Let me
it's
share this so everybody can see what we're looking at. Share application.
so like go down 4 pages and it's there. It's right there. That, yeah, right
Am
there.
I am I getting close?
Yeah, it's right there. This report is in the public domain. Authorization to reproduce it in its whole or in part is granted, while permission to reprint this publication is not necessary. The citation should be
Okay. All right. So they've sort of mashed up the two styles, right? They're asking for a full first name and then the year of publication. They've got the title not in sentence form, which hurts my feelings, but the citation should be. I can't argue with that. I'm going to look into that. I'm going to email that to my professor at Old Dominion University and ask him how to handle that, just because I want to know. All right, good. So I'm glad we had this conversation, right? Um, Sometimes you find something, and APA says this. They have sort of a disclaimer, and what they say is, we try to give you an example of everything you can imagine, but sometimes we miss something. When that's the case, get as close as you can get. So in this case, we'll go with that that definition, right, we're going to get as close as we can get because that's what they ask us to use. Yeah, really good. I'm glad you found that. Let's see now. How can I can download that, can't I?
I'm kind of glad you didn't grade it yet. So you asked me instead of like you doing that and me getting points knocked off.
Well, yeah, and here's the. I mean, I will always put points back when I miss something, right? The problem is that students have to tell me or have to show me that I've missed it. So sometimes it's easier to do. It's good that we had a chance to talk about it beforehand than after the hand. I would have put the points back, but you would have had to show me that I had to. So now we have something for me to learn. Yay! That's what I love about education. Something new every day.
Yeah, I'm shocked that I saw that though. Obviously, it was in the beginning, so I like that whole. It's 81 pages. I scanned most of that. Some of it's not relevant to me, some is, but it was in the beginning, so I think that's how I saw it.
Yeah, good deal. Good save. Good catch. Okay, we are at our hour. Anybody have anything else that we need to kick around for a minute?
Nope, I'm good tonight.
You're good
Thank you.
tonight. Okay. I'm going to
I'm
go
good
back
for
and
right
look at your.
now. If I have anything, I'll email you.
Yeah, email me. Um, Ashley, I think I saw an email from you earlier this evening. I hope I answered that correctly. But again, you can, if you need some more guidance, just send me an email. And I've got therapy in the morning, so I'll be out of the office until around noon. But I'll get back to you first chance I get. Usually pretty quick. And we're running out of weeks, right? We're coming up on week 10. Man, can you 10 out of 15 already? All right, guys, let's go find something else to do besides English for a little while.
Sounds good with me.
Okay. I'll see you next week.
Thank you. See ya.
Do you
Good
need to
night.
stop the recording?
I do need to stop the recording.